Hey guys, it's Caleb here, and I just want to talk to you a little bit about my new single, Klonopin, and the music video. Klonopin is an anti-anxiety medication that you can take as needed, especially for panic attacks, and I have like a panic disorder, so anytime I feel like a panic attack is coming on or anything like that, Klonopin would be used to kind of stop that, and it really does work. It really kind of just stops the panic that's just taking over your body. It takes away all the physical symptoms of a panic attack, like heart racing and sweating and this impending feeling of doom, like something bad is happening to you, because it can be really scary if you've had a panic attack. It's definitely not fun. But Klonopin is kind of in the same category as like Ativan and Xanax. They are all like what they would call benzos, which are pretty addictive medications that people can easily become addicted to, but they also work, and that's probably the real reason why they're so addictive. But yeah, the inspiration behind Klonopin for me was I was prescribed Klonopin like end of last year, and it was during a time where I was having a lot of panic attacks, and I normally get a lot of panic attacks during the winter season just because of Christmas and all these things that are going on that are really big events. So I was just really struggling, and I took Klonopin for the first time, and it was like everything, all my problems went away. And obviously it only works for 8 hours or so, but it's kind of nice when you can finally just feel normal for a day or whatever. But then I found myself, being really tempted to take that every time I felt any sort of panic, even if it wasn't out of control yet. And I think I could have probably, handled it on my own. Klonopin was just there to, just take away all that. And I kind of just found myself really, really needing it. And the relationship with Klonopin, I guess you could say, just became very toxic. It was just a Band-Aid that I kept using to, just fix my underlying issue, which is the anxiety and the panic disorder and all this stuff that wasn't being fixed. It was just being, it was basically just a Band-Aid that I kept running to. And when I wrote the song Klonopin, I was in LA, and it was kind of just, it was the first night that I was in LA staying with Colin and Alex, who produced a lot of the album and a lot of the songs that they produced a little bit better as well. Just great guys. And the first night I was kind of just sitting there alone and really struggling with my mental health. And I was really hoping that I was going to be able to get through that trip, because I knew that I did not have Klonopin with me. I had run out and I did not have any. And I was pretty scared that I was going to have a panic attack or something, and that I would have nothing to have or to use to take it away. So in that moment, I was just kind of thinking like, wow, I really need this, like the same way I need oxygen and water and whatever. And when I thought of it like that, I was like, well, maybe this is a song, like, maybe this is a song. And then I kind of came up with the lyric, I need you like water, I need you like a child needs a father. And those were the kind of the starting lyrics for Klonopin. And at the time, I did not even know I was going to call it Klonopin. I didn't know that I was going to use the word Klonopin at all. I was going to use make it just metaphorical. But as we started writing it the next day and finishing it up, we all were just like, you know what, I want this to be super honest and super real. And Klonopin's just such a weird word too, especially if you don't know what it is, that it might just like be kind of hooking if you see it and you're like, oh, what is that? It kind of makes you wonder what the song's about. So yeah, I thought that, writing the song wasn't going to be about Klonopin necessarily, but it actually ended up being exactly about Klonopin for me. But we also wanted to keep it vague enough that people could relate it and, put their vice or whatever in replace of Klonopin. So I say this a lot, but being honest in at least my music, my own music, is the most important thing to me. Even if I'm writing a song that's not necessarily about my life, I want the song to still be honest to my own situations and how I feel about the subject, you know? Like, I'm not gonna write a song about, you know, hating an ex or something like that if I've never hated an ex, you know? Even if I'm not writing about this certain thing, I want whatever I'm writing about to be honest and kind of reflect who I am as a person a little bit. So honesty is super important in my music, and I think that was one of the biggest reasons for writing Klonopin, was because it was so honest. I was honestly nervous, no pun intended. But no, I was honestly kind of nervous, though, to write a song about such a heavy topic, about a drug that I almost kind of went against my own, you know, went against my own judgment. But as the song kind of we started writing it and everything, I was just like, you know what, this is maybe the most honest I've ever been. And I think that's what's so important, and it felt right. And yeah, so that's kind of just always been a really important part of my music, but also just with this song specifically, it's really the first time I think that I've been this honest and this just vulnerable in a song. When it comes to my anxiety, there's a lot of things that I've attempted and tried to do to, you know, help myself out in the moment. When I'm feeling like a panic attack or whatever, my initial response is to like kind of check on my all of my feelings and stuff. And I think that's what that's my first instinct, but I think it actually kind of makes it worse, honestly, because I deal with something a little more specific called health anxiety. So I'm like, mine kind of spirals out of control because of sensation or something that I feel, either in my chest or my head or whatever. But for me, I think I try my best to kind of ground myself when I start feeling that. I kind of just try to remind myself that, okay, I know it's hard to remind yourself of this in the moment, but I try to kind of slow down because everything's moved so fast in that moment that I try to just slow down and be like, okay, I wasn't feeling this a second ago and I felt this before and nothing happened. So what am I afraid of and what am I panicking over? And sometimes that can kind of get me out of that spiral effect. And then another thing I think is like, I can't remember what they call it, but it's basically like see something, feel something, and hear something. So basically it kind of brings you back to reality when you're having a panic attack or whatever. So if I'm sitting right here, I could be like, okay, I can feel my hands, you know, I can see my computer screen right here, and then I can hear the fan going above me. What that kind of does is like reminds you of where you are, and also puts you back into reality and kind of gets your mind off of it for a second. It's kind of like a exercise kind of thing. So those are two big things that I do. Also just therapy and therapy is so important, I think. And I am on a daily anxiety medication that's very different than Klonopin, of course, but that does tend to help as well. So there's a lot of things you can do, but meditation is another big one that I think works well for me as well. So my advice for anyone who's struggling with mental health is just to jump on it early and get it under control and learn how to cope and fight it, so that you have those tools for when you really need it. You know, when you have the time and you're young or whatever, that's the time you really want to jump at it. So, but it's never too late either. You know, it's never too late. You always can get it under control. So making a music video for Klonopin was so cool. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I am really interested in acting and just the film industry and that kind of stuff. So I always love being involved in music videos for myself. I normally am, I think every music video that I have, I was kind of, you know, in on the planning and as far as like, you know, helping with the script and all that and the idea of what the video is going to portray. that's stuff that I just really enjoy. And then this one was really cool because I got to play a character. I got to play myself, but you know, in a slightly different way. Not everything I'm doing in the video is really replicating me, myself, but I wanted to take the struggle that I had with Klonopin and anxiety and just really make it like the extreme, you know, because I wanted to cover all the bases. I want someone to be able to watch that and be kind of like me and be like, okay, well, I struggled with this and this, but watch that and like, oh, I relate to that, you know. But then I also wanted someone that could be, you know, completely addicted to anything, alcohol or whatever, and just really down bad and whatever, and still be able to relate to it. So we kind of went all at it from all sides, and just kind of showed what it is like to not only have anxiety and all of these mental health issues, but also be reliant on some sort of, you know, prescription drug or alcohol or whatever it is. So we kind of wanted to highlight on all of that. So making the music video and kind of, you know, just giving that generalized, okay, this is someone who's clearly struggling with something. That was kind of the main goal the whole time. And Adam was unbelievable at making this come to life. He's insanely good. It could not have done it without him. So, but it was really cool to be able to like work with him and kind of just really figure out how to, you know, make that kind of come to life. So, yeah, and we had also like such a cool team of guys that were able to just like, you know, from everything, the lighting and the little rigs. There was one scene where I was getting pulled on a skateboard, and it was just really cool, like all the little stuff that went into it, having those guys that really cared about the video and just really did their, I mean, I had never met a lot of them even before the shoot, but I mean, they showed up knowing what the idea was, and they were passionate about it, and it was just really cool. So, and I had some friends that were in the video as well that are close to me that traveled to come out there and just be extras in the videos, so shout out to them. It was just really cool experience, and I got to scratch my itch a little bit for wanting to act and that kind of thing. So yeah, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and please stay tuned for the premiere of Klonopin the music video.